see that we're living in an age of the Wild West of technology, where we've got all these different applications and devices, and people are switching back and forth between all these different devices and applications. It's really like the Wild West because it's chaotic.
We're faced with the paradoxical situation in which the tools that should facilitate our lives seem to complicate them. How did we get to this point? How has digital technology revolutionized the workplace? That's what Cindy Fellio, researcher in information and communication sciences, wants to find out by interviewing managers on their rapport with the digital world.
My objective was to see how this was really impacting the workplace, how it affects employees who use digital technology on a daily basis. At the same time, I wanted to find out if digital devices are creating new psychosocial risks in the workplace.
For her research, Cindy Fellio interviewed around 100 managers, since they are the first to fall prey to digital stress.
All these tasks of information management or processing encroach on the core of the job. Some of them spoke to me about a feeling of disqualification, of being distanced from their real work. In the end, based on the analysis that I carried out, it becomes clear that these technologies mean work becomes more dense. It is intensified through this race for urgency, this time pressure, the instantaneousness that these tools allow.
Bernard Mananes is one of the managers interviewed by Cindy Fellio. In his previous post, he had trouble dealing with the pressure due to digital devices. He chose to change jobs to reduce the stress.
Let's say you start work on a subject at 8:30 in the morning. At 8:36, you receive an email marked urgent, since almost 60% of emails these days are marked urgent because people think otherwise you won't answer. Meanwhile, you receive a text, then a phone call, then you return to the dossier you started on 8:30, and it'll be 10:15, 10:30 or 11 o'clock. By now, you lost the thread of what you wanted to do, which means, excuse me, I'm in a meeting. Can I call you back? It's true that when you're constantly assailed by ringing, beeps and alerts, you lose your concentration. You lose your concentration.
We can clearly see that when he's interrupted, he struggles to pick up the thread of his thoughts. And that's characteristic of these environments that I describe as electronic bombardment or water torture. Take, for example, the working groups that I run. We have an interruption every 6 minutes. And in the end, this new digital working ecosystem is totally structured so that you can't work. That's exactly what happened right there.
These incessant demands force us to provide responses, a cycle that can eat up a lot of time. Experts estimate that just dealing with emails accounts for 30% of an employee's day. Matthew Pedaleur works for a company that manages data networks. He doesn't have a choice. He has to be permanently connected.
Yes, Francis. No, go ahead, I'm listening. We'll make it quick. I have to be reachable 24 hours a day, weekends, the night, whenever. And I'm sometimes called in the middle of the night when there are major problems. Okay, I'll call you back later to talk about it. I'd be the first to say we'd all like to be able to breathe a bit and switch off from time to time. I just saw the email, and I'm not happy about it. In any case, we've got a meeting coming up. Even when I'm relaxing, even at the weekend, at any moment, if you receive an email, you have to read it to see if it's something important. Which in this case, it is. So my walk is going to be cut short, or else I'll pause for a few minutes, either to take a call or to take the time to answer this email.
Nowadays, 1 in 2 managers do not allow themselves to disconnect from work in the evening. In the modern working world, it has become almost impossible to do otherwise.
There's a sort of injunction, an implicit rule to be permanently connected, to reply to emails as soon as you get them, because you're equipped with this phone, and that's exactly what this device is for. Being able to plug into your work at any time of day, anywhere, poses some questions in the private sphere. There might be cases of divorce or arguments with partners due to the excessive intrusion of the work smartphone in the family home.
And when work becomes invasive, digital stress can lead to burnout. Stéphanie Lecin experienced this in her previous job. She now works on a wine estate.
I often used to get up in the night because I worked with China and India. So I'd get up to deal with some emails so things moved faster. I thought it was being efficient. It was good for the company. I was not compelled to do so, but it seemed to me that the company's existence depended on it. But I totally overlooked my own life. In fact, I felt an obligation to be online all the time because it was a total addiction. I wasn't alive if I wasn't online. I had to keep checking in, knowing what was going on, even at the weekend on vacation. I was looking at my email all the time, even on my honeymoon vacation. Then, there was a moment when I woke up. I realized I had to stop. The thing that triggered this was when my daughter, Lilou, said to me one day, "Mom, all you do is shout. You're really mean. You need an operation." Then I decided to take steps and stop checking in all the time.
Of course, in her new job, Stéphanie still has to go online, but now she keeps it within strict hours approved by her employers. Stéphanie narrowly avoided burnout, but not everyone is so lucky.
I suffered from burnout myself a few years ago. Now I know how to handle it and manage things differently, but I honestly think it's the information overload from these new digital devices which caused it. The overload will inevitably lead to a state of fatigue, mental fatigue, and in some cases, full-blown burnout. That's the fashionable term for it. But why is it fashionable? Because it also appeared with these new technologies.
Since these technologies are now part of our lives, we are going to have to learn to manage them better. According to Thierry Venin, in France and Germany, some 12% of the working population is at high risk of burnout. This situation is closely linked to information and communication technologies.
I go berserk when I feel that I haven't got the means to deliver what is expected of me. In other words, I can't see this through. As soon as you adopt this definition, you understand why these technologies have a powerful impact. Because wrapped up with the fact that I can't deliver, there's also the fact that I'm working all the time. Whether I'm at home, on the subway, wherever, I'm working. Without these technologies, I couldn't do that. I always have to go faster. So all the time we come back to the effects of information and communication technologies in this stressful ecosystem. In France, the cost of stress in the workplace is estimated at 2,500 to 3,500 deaths. So we're talking about some extremely brutal cases of burnout. Several hundreds of thousands of sick days. So the social cost of the work-related stress pandemic is extremely high.
We're only just becoming aware of the effects of digital stress. But can we analyze the nature of this stress? Are we exhibiting new behaviors, new ways of working linked to these devices which threaten our equilibrium? That's what Professor Gloria Mark wants to understand. Researcher in psychology at the informatics department of an American university, Gloria Mark focuses on the interactions between humans and computers. For the past 20 years, she has been carrying out field studies into how the growing role of digital technologies is changing us.
When I began, I would interview people and I would ask them about their experiences, and everybody felt distracted from email. So I looked for a field site that was willing to have its employees cut off email. It took me 6 years to find an organization.
A unit of the U.S. Army near Boston agreed to take part in one of her experiments. The aim was to evaluate the effect of emails on staff members. To carry out her research, Gloria Mark observes employees and takes physiological measurements.
Sarah? Yes. Hi, I'm Gloria Mark, and we're doing a study. Thank you very much for volunteering. So I have some devices that I'd like you to wear.
The professor equips the staff with a device that measures their heartbeat. This gives an indication of the level of stress. She adds a captor which measures the number of interactions between coworkers.
And so your other colleagues, when they come in close proximity to you, the signals from these badges pick up each other, and it can tell when you're close with another person and interacting with them. Okay? Now, we're going to cut off your email for a period of 5 days. Wow.
By analyzing the results before and after blocking email traffic, Gloria Mark observes an increase in direct interactions between staff members. Her study shows that email is the leading source of stress in the office.
What we found was that the more time people spend on email, the higher their stress is. We also found that the longer time on email, the lower people assessed their productivity at the end of the day. This was a very robust result because we controlled for people's job characteristics. So that means no matter what kind of job you have, whether you're a manager, whether you're an administrator, whether you're a researcher, whether you're an engineer, irrespective of job role, it's the same result.
For the past 10 years, Gloria Mark has been taking careful measurements of our concentration span in front of screens. She has observed a dramatic change.
In 2004, we found that the average length of time that people focused on any activity was 3 minutes. In 2012, we found that on any computer screen, people's attention was about 1 minute and 15 seconds on average. So their attention shifting is happening more frequently. I've also done a very large study with college undergraduate students. These are the millennial generation. These are young people that have grown up with the internet, with digital devices, with smartphones, and their attention duration on any computer screen is even shorter. It's about 45 seconds.
Kelly Mitchell.
I think people have multitasked, for a long time. I mean, we've had telephone, we've had radio, but I think what's different now in the workplace is that people have access through digital media to more information faster than they've ever had in history. People report burnout because each time you orient to a new task, it's a strain. So we know that multitasking and the consequent interruptions create stress and create a cognitive overload.